Hey guys, welcome back to Exotic Car Hacks, and today we are looking at what we consider to be probably the best bargain sedan in the business right now, the S63 S65 previous generation sedan. Now, you may have heard that the S-Class has just gotten redesigned with a hybrid axle system, and it is supposed to be fantastic. Well, this is the generation that has now become incredibly hackable as a result. You could be buying a beautiful S63 AMG, which was once almost $200,000. You ready for this? For as low as $50,000. Now that's a pretty low number for a pretty incredible car. Here, right here in front of us, is an S65, which is the V12 variant that has now been discontinued because V12s. But this particular car is available at Exotics Hunter here in Boca Raton. They've lent us the car so we can use it to show you, since we're obviously doing a buyer's guide, and it is available for sale if someone wants it. However, we're just going to take a look at the S-Class in general and talk a little bit about what makes it exciting, not necessarily this specific car, but the car in general, and then are going to go to the board and see if we can find if the numbers really make sense or not, or why, should I say, the S63 and S65 are some of the most hackable sedans in the market. So the first thing we notice with the S65 or 63 is that the interiors aren't really that different, and since I'm a midget, I'm gonna go forward here. There's a lot of things that basically work really well in the S-Class, and there's a lot of things that feel outdated now, but are still incredibly valuable. So the first thing I'll tell you is a lot of people, when they're looking at car hacking, they typically know they're looking at a couple of cars that are older in years. And so the first thing that turns them off is they go, I don't like old tech, which is kind of why it's really good that this car has now become incredibly hackable, because even though they don't like old tech, there's something pretty exciting about the S-Class, because the tech is still so far ahead of its time that it's now that it's like, what, like almost 7-8 years behind. It is still not behind in terms of tech. This car still has better tech than the majority of exotic cars on the market. So we have incredible audio, we have incredible technology, same thing found in the newer G-Wagons. This has had it since the 2015, 2014 era. So, you know, a lot of car for the money, a lot of comfort, massaging seats and all that blah, blah, blah stuff that you would find in a Rolls-Royce Ghost at a fraction of the cost. The beauty about the S-Class variant is that basically you get the same as you would on any other S-Class, but you get all these little upgrades, with the 63 being a twin-turbo V8 and the 65 being twin-turbo V12. But you get these, it doesn't really change other than the V12 variant just gets a lot of stuff standard. Like you get a lot of stuff like the better audio, the cross quilting and stuff like that standard in the car, rather than having to spec it out. Now, this particular color combo is not that exciting. Personally, for me, it would feel like you're like 90 years old and aren't getting ahead anymore or doing anything, so it wouldn't work necessarily from a pimp standpoint, but it would still work from a functional standpoint, because it obviously features the same standpoint. Now, you may have heard on the news that this is the clown steering wheel, so it looks like a clown mouth and face, whatever. That is what made this car famous and kind of go viral on the internet. But other than that, the car is pretty superb. It drives really smooth. It's got great audio. It's got great features. It's very reliable. It hasn't had historically any major failures over time, except the typical air suspension that's a Mercedes issue, not necessarily an S-Class issue. But other than that, a pretty solid car altogether, even as more miles get added on. So we're gonna go to the board and take a look, but I wanna show you some other cool features. You'll see here some of the ambient light that follows. One of the things with Mercedes S-Class flagship cars is that you'll notice that they have this beautiful thing with light, where they know exactly how to put light places, like in their Maybach cars, etc., to really create an ambiance with the car, which is why color combinations matter a lot with this car. So tall people, fat people, everybody fits in this perfect. That you're an 18-year-old beautiful girl, or that you're a 60-year-old who can barely walk, it doesn't make a difference. You'll find comfort in this car. Everything works. Now let me take you here to the back as well, because I want to show you some of the back seat features, which are fantastic. Now, you'll notice that there's something pretty exciting about this car. Is you get all the dark stuff, you get the double sunroofs, whatever. On this side, you'll also notice it has kind of this lazy boy feature going on, and some of these have refrigerators in the back here. You get these TVs, which of course are outdated and a little bit older, and come with their own set of little remotes, which looks like a Nokia phone from back in the 90s, which is interesting, and of course a DVD player, so that tells you how far back this is. But nonetheless, it is very important to note that, again, for the value you're getting, I mean, this was a $200,000 plus car. That's a lot of dollars for a car that you can now buy literally for 80 grand, being the flagship and the best variation of the car. I mean, everything from, look at this little mirror that comes out, very old school Mercedes style, you know, to like your lights, your shades here. I mean, it's really well done. And of course, all the seating is immersive in the back and no different than what you would get in a Rolls-Royce. And I want to note that if you're looking at, for example, a new Ghost like I have, that's a $500,000 car. Now, take away the black patch, it's still a $350,000 car. I would argue that this is the poor man's Ghost. And it's not really poor manish in sense of it still holds a lot of weight in the game. And I think that's the one thing I love about the S-Class flagship, is that while I would agree that it is the poor man's Ghost, as in whoever can afford a Rolls will never own a Mercedes as the car, it is also very important to note that this car still holds its very own very well outside of just trying to mimic what Rolls-Royce has done. They're ahead of time. I would say in 2015, 2016, when this car was really the hot new stuff, the 2015, 2016 Rolls-Royce, I would argue, was not significantly better than that. And today, even looking at that car used, you're looking at 140K versus, you know, 80, 90K. So I think substantially good value, Mercedes quality and Mercedes name. I mean, again, I'm very much a fan of the S-Class, and I think it makes it incredibly desirable as a product, which is one of the reasons it retains its value well once it tanks. But it does tank, so you can't really buy these new, even though the new ones look way cooler and they're very tempting with a big screen and everything. We just can't go there yet. We'll take a look later at the Maybachs and see if the Maybachs are something we can hack as we go down the road. But for now, this is basically the best hackable Mercedes S-Class in terms of year. So let's go to the board and let's see specifically if this car is hackable, what makes it hackable, and because the numbers don't lie, even if my opinions are wrong, the numbers never lie. Let's go. Hey everybody, so you've seen the S-Class. We love the S-Class because it's the bargain, wanna be a rich car, right? Every guy who pretends to have money drives an S-Class. It's the guy that couldn't afford the Bentley or the Rolls-Royce. Don't feel bad if you're that guy. It's a transition to a Bentley or Rolls-Royce. I get it. But the S-Class is one of those cars where value is top-notch, especially as we know that these cars come down to a certain value, then hold, and then basically disappear off the market. So we know this because we've seen it happen with the first generation of S55 and S65s. We've seen it happen with the CL, which used to be the basic two-door version of the S-Class. And we are seeing it unfold again with a much more intelligent S-Class and one that was pioneering for its time. So when did the new S-Class come out? What are the years you need to be looking at? Simply put, 2014 was the first year they introduced the S63 AMG. Now, because we're talking about car hacking here, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, again, you can go in the description, click the link and learn for free what is car hacking, how does it work, and how you can make it become the most financial responsible way to ever own a car. Now, if you want to join our community, you can also go in the link and join Exotic Car Hacks. 2014, S63 was introduced. It was a very aggressive sedan, you would say. Lots of power, lots of tech, lots of cool features, and Mercedes always outdoes themselves coming out with a new product. This is their flagship car. Now, something that a lot of people don't know about how Mercedes recycles its product, it takes basically like the S-Class and uses it as a chassis for years to come. So what does that mean? It takes the S-Class, for example, and next generation of E-Classes will be last generations of S-Classes, and it kind of pushes its chassis down until it's basically milked it to a point of non-existence. So the S63 founded in 14 with the majority of 2014 to 2016 models basically being the same. 2017, slight tech update. We're gonna write that here. And then 2018 was the new body. So there was a new refreshed front bumper, rear bumper, engine, and all that stuff, like just a little bit more power than there. And that carried on 2018, I think, to 2020, where they basically had a final cool whatever variation of the car. The thing I'm trying to show you here is that, again, this car's run about 7 to about 7 to 8 years as a whole. Because remember, the S-Class itself starts the year before the AMG, and it kind of carries on past that, and then a brand new model comes about. The main thing you have to understand is, again, when we're looking at these here, there are two very distinct cars. This is a second gen, this is a first gen. Unlike a lot of specific exotics where we go, these are the best years because of mild transmission upgrades and things like that. On these cars, this is a significant upgrade and a significant price difference in the used market for the newer style of cars because they're significantly updated, very big difference in design, very, very cool car, 18 and on. Bargain car, 14 to 17, 17 being a slight tweak. The real value of the hack here is going to be right here. This is your hackability 14 to 16 S63. Now, 18 to 20s, holding very strong, will be dropped once the new S63 comes out with the new hybrid motor. It is going to blow this car and push it all the way down. That is why these cars right now are not hackable and very dangerous. So we're going to focus here on the 14 and 16, which is really our opportunity. Regardless if you get the coupe or the sedan is always at the most about 10K more than a coupe. So all you have to do is basically add 10K to my numbers to kind of change them and get around. On the low end of the stick, a clean, maybe with more driven miles, like in the 30,000 mile range, is still going to be 55K for the S63, and a very like premium bargain product is going to be about 75K. So this range right here is going to run about 20K between there and there, right? We're going to write that right here. However, the majority of clean cars and the majority of good mileage cars are going to be between 65 and 70K, so right in this range. Now, they've been in this range over the last 2 years, which is only a 5K margin of error, which in this case is about a little bit under 10%. It's about 8% or so, which is, again, how we determine hackability. Can we drive a car with less than 10% exposure versus industry averages of 18% when we have about 8% of risk? That is still fantastic. It's within range. It's not risky. The downfall is very limited. Again, a lot of value here with the S-Class because it's been a very safe car at these runs. Now, when we're looking at more of these luxury cars, it's not like the exotic car market because these cars are not always in demand. But what happens, or how we can regulate and place supply and demand, is through mileage. So the key optimum mileage to get in an S-Class is going to be between 25 and 30K, and the exit is going to be around 35K. So this is the exit no matter what. Where you want to be, like you need to drive 7,000 miles, you need to drive 5,000 miles. This is where your hack ratio is based on your purchase. So this is more what we call the luxury car hacks model, a different course we have for people that want to use daily drivers, etc. But the S-Class can really fall in both. So if you're the type of individual that want to drive a lot, you know, and you want to put miles on your car and you have to commute, you'll probably want to try and really push to find a 25,000 mile car. You can drive all the way to 35,000 miles. If you're the type of individual that basically is going to show off your car, drive it only to dinner or good places, you can get away with buying a 30,000 mile car, getting out by 35. 35K is really the premium optimal exit level for the S63, S65. And again, where are the numbers? You just add 10K to these numbers, 75 to 80. Again, that's where you're going to be no matter what on the sedan or coupe. It doesn't make a difference. The S63 is a fantastic daily driver. It's a very easy to go car, and there are some very basic options you need to go after, and night vision is not one of them. While it's a cool feature, nobody gives a shit if you see deer in Atlanta at like 3 a.m. or something. Like, don't drive your car in a deer community or something. It's stupid. Why are you laughing? Why you always ruin my videos with your laugh? Yeah, they heard you. They're hearing you now. Anyways, Reggie always messing up my videos for no reason. No reason, I tell you. If you're gonna get a coupe, some things you need to try to get the carbon pack. That's a really cool pack inside out. Try to get the 10-spoke wheels. I think those are better no matter what on coupe or sedan, because they just do. The carbon pack is rarer, very, very rare on the earlier sedans, so it's gonna be a harder thing to find. I don't necessarily recommend it. If you're also getting a coupe, if you can get CCBs, it's worth paying an extra 5K for a CCB car. Just make sure they're in good shape. That's really where you want to be. Their Burmester audio is usually, I call it the B audio, is usually standard on coupe and sedan. So very rarely did people remove it. So that's really like something you're going to find in the majority of them. But those are the real key options that are going to make the car more desirable at time of resale. Now, you just remove the carbon side of things. And as far as colors, Some of the best colors that sell on the particular S-Class are gonna be white is always the premium color, gray is secondary, and then black is third. It's obviously a sedan. It's not gonna be yellow or bright red, but these are just good opportunities and options to learn. There is a full buyer's guide in Exotic Car Hacks, so you can check that out by actually joining our community if you want all the data and analysis. This is just an overview for you guys to know that the S63, S65 Coupe and Sedan are hackable, which years to go after, and what you can expect. If you want to learn more things like this, again, links are in the description. And of course, like, subscribe, turn on notification, and let me know in the comments if you've had a chance to drive one, you enjoyed, or you think this is a dinosaur today compared to what it once was. I'll catch you guys next time for Exotic Car Hacks. My name is Pejman Gadimi, and I teach people how to drive exotics for free. Let's look here at how this Huracan can cost as little as $300 a month.